This is your WW3 news of a Friday afternoon, after work, the weekends tomorrow. Or it's just beginning. Now, as we heard on the news, Trump is sending the special forces from America to the Middle East, precisely Iran, probably for a land war, who knows, and additional 10,000 regular troops. Obviously, military experts have expressed their opinion. Even his own military experts said this is a suicide, an insane mission. Because as soon as they put boots on the ground, they'll just get massacred. And probably Trump is playing this card to do leverage on what you call it, the American population. Get them rally around the so-called flag, false flag event, soldiers being massacred. Then afterwards you do leverage on the psychology of people, and therefore this so-called patriotism for another war which they're going to lose in the end, like the Vietnam type. I think most Americans are aware of this ghost which is lurking in this part of the world, and this war as well. It's going to be the same thing. What will happen? Well, the Americans have already modified the legislation registering them for the draft. It's all automatic, and therefore they even lower the requirements, and the age has been boosted up to around about 45 now. And obviously you can be recruited even if you're a junkie as well. Anyway, at the end of the day, you can be used as cannon fodder. So what? It's the only use for society you are. You're a junkie, a bum, whatever, homeless, problems with health, elderly, a little bit disabled. They will send those people there and use them as cannon fodder. And the risk of being drafted will increase a lot. As soon as they start applicating wartime powers, which Congress will grant him with no problem, they'll do a bit of wrangle, a little bit of resistance. At the end of the day, they'll give Trump what he wants as usual. He's the boss. And for us in Western countries like Europe, well, for the time being, major countries say, nope, we're not going to go and participate in this military operation in the Middle East to free this Hormuz Straits from the Iranians. The Iranians are 1 million strong, about ready. They're waiting for the Americans. As soon as they put their feet on that ground, they're going to be massacred. And you need a hell of a lot of troops. Therefore they're drafting. Because after the Vietnam War, the armed forces became mainly all professional. And that doesn't mean in times like on the brink of World War III, you can only depend on professional troops. You need fresh cannon fodder to fill in the ranks, because the numbers do not add up. It's not just in America, it's mainly all European NATO countries, the military forces. Their lack of people or ranks to fill in, because they have gone professional, it's all volunteers, there's no more military service. Well, draft conscription or military service, what fucking you can call it, they're going to induce when the war breaks out. Probably in Europe, they'll have to deal with the Russians instead of the dwindling numbers of Ukrainians. And that means wartime powers, emergency powers, curfews, martial laws, your constitutional rights goes out the window, and basically will be a tyranny, no more of a democracy of constitution. You're in wartime what's it, wartime what do you call it? I said wartime era now. So that means the whole of society will have to be reconverted for the so-called war effort. Each country has their own legislation and constitution, and some countries activate this wartime procedures and special powers. Like here in Italy, they have to invoke Article, I think, 78 of the Italian Constitution. It goes through Parliament, and at the end of the day, the President of the Republic signs it. But mind you, here in Italy, the wartime powers of the fascist era, they're still in force, and we're talking about the Royal Decree of 8th of July 1938, number 1415, which basically regulates wartime here in Italy, for example. In other countries, they probably may have more modern legislation for these events. And obviously, in Canada and even in America, they're thinking about recruiting so-called immigrants or illegals. Seems to tend to be more than the locals, wherever they are. And why not? They're all male, they're all military service, so they're fit to be sent on the, what you would call it, battlefield. That's why they lower the standards and increase the age of limit which you can be drafted. For now it's 45. If they need so, they can even 65, even 70. And it doesn't matter if you have health problems. They will send you anyway because we're at war. You have to do your part. The fact is, people these days are not reluctant to go into war, leaving their civilian life for what? To be massacred for the agendas of the occults. This is what it's all about. And all these series of events, energy crisis, energy lockdowns will have an impact on our society, and therefore governments will have to decide they're going to have to join in, because afterwards they will have to free somehow that part of the world, at least for shipping transits, so-called Hormuz Straits, which currently is in hands of the Iranians. This will only spark off when boots on the ground touch Iran, physically speaking, and you start hearing about American casualties. They already start fear-mongering. They already start creating the boogeyman already. Therefore, you know, the narrative is in its place already. The fog of war, propaganda for war, it's starting. And as usual, people will fall for it. This is for sure. Not all can see through this fog, and mostly it's all false flag events which will probably kick-start this thing, and so on. Let's see how the situation evolves. But rest of the energy crisis, time passes. This conflict will not end pretty soon. The Iranians won't give up. They'll fight until the end, and they'll already start attacking other member states of Middle East Arab countries, oil producers. News came out, it's official. They had attacked a nuclear power plant in Israel, La Domina, as it's called. Probably only hit the structure, not the reactor itself. Otherwise you have a radiological event. And the fact is, probably could be a false flag, which Israel and America will use to spark off this war on a full scale. World War III? Who knows? Anything's possible.